Hi, welcome to another episode of Talking with Docs. I'm Dr. Brad Wiening.
And I'm Dr. Paul Zalzal.
On today's episode, we're going to talk about wrist fracture physio, or physio that you do after you broke your wrist.
I love this because we get a guest on the show, and that way you don't have to listen to us talking, blah, 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 lose weight, blah, 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 be careful, blah, 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 you're in charge of your own health. Here we got another visitor, so you don't have to get sick of listening to us talk all the time.
And we've done a lot of videos about how to prevent stuff, or watch out for this, or be careful. But if you are here, you either didn't watch those videos or did not heed the warning.
That's right.
Winter's here.
Or you tried to put up your own holiday lights, or you don't have good treads on your shoe.
Yep.
You fell, you broke your wrist.
Yes.
It healed, and now it's time to get it moving again because it's very stiff, as we've shown on other videos about wrist fractures. You can get stiffness after. So these are some exercises
that you can do to deal with after a wrist fracture. Because when you fall, you actually put your hands out to protect yourself. And the only other way to avoid that is wear a helmet.
Wear a helmet.
Then you don't have to extend your wrists at all. You just take it on the bucket.
That's it. That'll be another video. Wear a helmet.
Wear a helmet.
All right. Let's go over and check out what our physiotherapist has to say about exercises you can do after a wrist fracture.
And my name is Megan Abraham. I'm a physiotherapist here at the hospital.
So Megan, what are we going to talk about today?
Today we're going to be talking about a few exercises that you can be doing if you've had a broken wrist.
Okay, very common injury, especially in the osteoporotic population.
And sometimes it's difficult to get to physio. We're certainly not using this as a replacement for outpatient physio because I think it's critical. But if you maybe don't have the means either to get there or to pay for it, this is something you can do at least on your own.
Okay, so I'll set the stage quickly.
Okay.
You walking along, tripped over your cat, boom, broke your wrist. You were casted for 6 weeks.
Yep.
Fracture's healed, everything looks good, cast comes off, and your surgeon says, okay, you got to start physio.
And usually those patients are looking at me like this with this like thing that doesn't even look like part of their hand. They're like, wow, it doesn't want to move. It hurts so much.
Yeah.
So now I'm at my physiotherapist. They're going to give me a home program to help. Where do we start, Megan?
So we're going to start with some of the most important movements of your wrist. So like this. What I get people to try to do is to try to bring their wrist up and back if they can.
Okay.
As far as you can comfortably.
That's called extension.
Yeah. And then down this way into some flexion. Now you haven't broken your wrist, so you have good movement,
Right.
but usually what you end up seeing is this tiny little movement this way and a tiny little movement down. So in those instances, what I get patients to do is you'll do some of the movement on your own, and then you take your other hand and help it a little bit. So this is active assisted range of motion. So you're helping yourself move into that range of motion.
Okay.
Same thing with flexion. You can bring your wrist down as far as it will go, and then you're pushing down as far as you can.
And certainly extension, I find, is usually more difficult to get
Yeah.
for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's extension and flexion exercises you can do after your broken wrist is healed.
How many times would I do that?
Aim for 5 to 10 repetitions.
Okay.
And if you can do that about 3 times a day, that should be good.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah. So the next one that we're going to do is pronation and supination. So right now, we'll keep you right in the middle.
Okay.
So what I find after wrist is people have a hard time opening their wrist up this way.
Totally agree.
So,
supination. Hard time with supination.
Picture it like you're holding a bowl of soup, and that will remind you about that motion.
That's a good way to think
Yeah.
of it.
So again, you're just going to be trying to open your wrist up as much as you can this way. And then we're going to pull it back into the middle, and then you're going to aim to do pronation. So turning that wrist down this way. Good. And then opening up again. And the same thing applies here if you're having a hard time. If you're only getting to here, you can use that other hand to help push it a little bit more into that movement. Okay. Now, something to think about here as well is trying to keep your arm right by your body. Exactly.
Cheater.
People compensate with their shoulder and think they're getting more into the motion. So do yourself a favor and keep your wrist beside your body so that you're just focusing on the wrist itself.
I tell my patients one way to make sure you do that is that either put a piece of paper, or imagine there's a cloth or a piece of paper there, and it shouldn't fall to the ground.
Yep.
I tell mine to use an expensive baize.
Ooh.
Oh.
And it really keeps you in there.
What about the cat?
Don't use the cat. Okay, so we got flexion extension, we got pronation supination.
Yep.
Is there anything else?
Another thing that you can do, what I get people to do at home, a lot of the time as well after you have that wrist fracture is you have a hard time making a fist again. So I get them just to roll up a little face cloth, and you can put that in your hand, and you can be focusing on trying to do just some wrist squeezes, and that can help a little bit as well.
Okay. Do you ever find that people have like a little bit of a claw hand afterwards where their fingers actually don't straighten out? Like the bend is not bad, but they almost can't straighten it?
Yeah, that does happen too. In those cases, what you can be trying to do is same as those other wrist motions, is you try to straighten your fingers out as much as you can, and then you can be using your other hand to pull them even further. And if you have a hard time with all fingers at the same time, is you can do one finger at a time, where you're trying to straighten it right out, and then you can even be working on bending it as well.
Okay.
Listen, these are exercises you can do at home, but it's still really important to go see a physiotherapist as well after your wrist fracture, so they can help you along the way. This isn't replacing your physio visit, this is augmenting it.
Well, thanks so much to Megan for helping us deal with the post-wrist fracture physiotherapy. And if you like this video, please like it, subscribe to our channel.
And remember, you are in charge of your own flexion, extension, pronation, supination of your wrist.
We'll see you next time.